Hey everyone, thanks for joining me today. I am glad I made it on time, to be honest. I had a leaky sink this morning. Water must have been dripping from it all night because there was a mini flood in there when I woke up. But thankfully, I have called a plumber and he is fixing it now. Funny thing is, today's guest is a master plumber. You might be surprised to learn that plumbing isn't just about fixing leaky pipes or unclogging drains. Oh, the places they go. So, get ready to meet today's guest, Anthony Bianco, a young man who has put in the hard work and dedication to become a master plumber. As you'll soon learn from Anthony, plumbing can be a really rewarding job that offers a nice income. But it can also be a dirty, sometimes physically demanding job that requires some skills that you might not have expected. Let's take a listen to Anthony and see if becoming a master plumber is right for you. Anthony began working as an apprentice plumber, so he can definitely see this field from a beginner's eyes. He offers some great insight into what plumbing can really be like, why some people change their minds once they get into the job and leave, and why others just seem to love it.
Plumbing is the type of trade where you can make very, very good money. You can almost pick your paycheck.
Making a good salary is definitely something to look for in a career, but there are many other factors as well.
A lot of people don't realize how dirty this job is and how demanding it is on your body. And once they start to get a taste for it, they'll get that one nasty job. At that point, they'll end up having a change of heart and they'll end up getting out of it.
As demanding as it is, Anthony really loves his job for many different reasons.
I love that it's something different every day. I'm the type of person where I can lose interest easily if I'm doing the same thing over and over and over again. I could never sit at a desk and work a desk job. It's just I like the change of scenery. I like driving around. I like meeting new people every day. And just, like I said, solving a different problem every single day and coming up with a solution to it. It definitely keeps the mind fresh and going every day.
So, what are some of the personality traits that are a good match for this profession?
People that don't mind working late, people that don't mind getting dirty, people that have a strong stomach for all the disgusting stuff you see on a daily basis.
And good people skills actually come into play here as well.
When things start going wrong in people's homes, they have a tendency of getting upset and stressed, and it's all about knowing how to handle those people and try to put them at ease so that way they can feel comfortable with you in their home. It's not for everybody, but for the people it is for, they can do very well in this industry.
Let's learn more about some of the kinds of projects that a plumber will handle on a day-to-day basis.
Replacing all the drainage in your house, upgrading brass old water lines to new copper or PEX water lines, boiler installs, installing new heating systems, air conditioning systems.
And something that I never thought about before, plumbing can be a very physically demanding job.
Lifting 400 or 500 pound boilers, working in crawl spaces where it's confined and dusty and, you're crawling around in there. And even just, carrying the materials. Materials are all very heavy. Trying to loosen old stuck on, screws and bolts and stuff that you really gotta put your body weight into to get them to crack loose. And, there's a lot to it. There's a lot to it, and it could definitely do some wear and tear on your body if you don't do things properly and take care of yourself properly.
I've met a number of people who thought they had a career path all picked out, and then they set off on it and had a change of heart, all for totally different reasons.
When I was growing up, my heart was pretty much set on becoming a police officer. That's what I thought I wanted to do my whole life. but I was never a big school person, so college was kind of like a tough option for me. I got out of high school. I told myself I was going to take 1 year off from school to take a break. I've always been pretty handy. I took construction through high school, so I've always been pretty good with working with my hands. But I didn't entirely know what I wanted to do in the construction industry because there's so many different parts, from framing homes to electrical, painting.
After actually doing some construction work, Anthony realized he didn't like it. Then, when he met his future wife and worked for her father at his heating and air conditioning company, he realized that this is the type of work that he really loves. And for Anthony, the schooling required to become a licensed plumber was also a good fit. Some community colleges and technical schools will offer classes. But Anthony's employer pays for him, and for all his employees, to go to school to obtain their licenses. 2 nights a week, they go to classes run by the state's Master Plumbers Association, and the employees still work a full day. To get licensed in an advanced plumbing classification, or for heating or for air conditioning, you need to complete several hundred hours of schooling and several thousand hours of work experience. Plus, you need to pass a few tests. Some people will just work for years as an apprentice plumber and never pursue any additional licenses. But this puts a limit on the pay they can earn and how far they can go in the industry. With hard work and persistence, you can go from an apprentice to a journeyman to a master plumber. To get licensed and advance to the level of journeyman or master plumber, you need to complete a certain amount of work hours and pass an exam. Anthony not only received his master's plumber's license, but he also received his heating and air conditioning licenses too.
The best thing I did was get all my licenses. That was probably the best thing that I did in terms of my career. Most people tend to drag it out, where you can get it done in 8 years, and I'm on track of completing it in 8.5 years. So to complete all 3 licenses in 8.5 years is huge.
Anthony worked his way up from apprentice to journeyman to master plumber. But what does it mean to be a master plumber?
It means you're at the highest rank of plumbing. You can do all fields of plumbing. You're able to pull permits. You're able to open your own business if you desire. And pretty much you're allowed to have other people work under you, such as a journeyman or an apprentice.
Wages and licensing requirements will vary from state to state. Actually, if you move to a different state, some states will let you transfer your license, but others will make you do a whole apprenticeship over again. This is the kind of detail you want to check in with your state about. According to the US Bureau of Labor Statistics, the growth rate for the industry of plumbing is slower than average, at just around 2% over 10 years. In spite of this, the field is projected to have about 50,000 job openings per year. There's actually a shortage of workers in this field that are needed to replace the plumbers that retire or change careers. The median annual salary for a plumber is about $60,000, which comes out to about $30 per hour. But of course, this will vary based on what level you've reached and where you live.
I was the type of person that I didn't come from an extremely wealthy family, so I had to get out there and make money and provide and build a life for myself. Where when I was in high school, most teachers probably considered me like the type of person like, okay, he's going to struggle on the outside. Where it wasn't the case, it was just a matter of finding something you enjoy doing. There's so much overtime in this industry because of the lack of plumbers. It's a high demand industry. So, like I said, you can pick your paycheck. You can work as much overtime as you want for the most part, and you can be as ambitious as you please.
Going to work during the day and going to school at night can be a daunting task. But just keep your eyes on the prize and know that in the end, it'll all be worth it. Anthony reminds us how important it is to listen to yourself and keep searching until you find a job that you really love. Well, that about wraps it up for today's video. I would once again like to thank Anthony for all the wonderful information and knowledge he graciously shared with us, and I'd like to thank you for stopping by. See you next time.
Hey.